This is 3.2, perfect squares, cubes, and their roots. So first, a perfect square is any number that is the product of two equal integers. For example, 25 is a perfect square because 5 times itself, 5, gives 25. A square root is the integer that, when multiplied by itself, gives the perfect square. So 5 is the square root of 25 because 5 times 5 is 25. Perfect cubes is similar to perfect squares, but it is any number that is the product of three equal integers. For example, 8 is a perfect cube because 8 or 2 times 2 times 2 gives you 8, or 2 to the power of 3 gives you 8. Cube root is the integer that makes up a perfect cube. So 2 is the cube root of 8 because 2 times 2 times 2 gives you 8. Now down here, this entire term is called a radical. This sign here in the middle, this squiggly V with a big line, is called the radical sign. So when you see the radical sign, you know it is a radical. The number on the inside here, this is called the radicand. And this, the last part here, this number up top, that is called the index of the radical. When there is no index, so for example you just have this with nothing up here, the index is assumed to be a 2. So for our first example, we will find the square root of 1296. To do this, we use the prime factorization. And so, to find the prime factorization, we will use a factor tree. So what we get when we do the prime factorization of 1296 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So what we want to do with the square root is we want to find two numbers that are the exact same. To do that, we want to group the prime factorization into pairs. So we will group off into pairs, one pair of 2, one pair of 2, one pair of 3, and another pair of 3. When we have these paired off, we want to set up two brackets and take one number from each pair and put them into each set of brackets. So this 2 goes here, this second 2 goes in the second bracket. This one goes here, this one goes here. Right? So we get 3 into each, and the last 3 into each. Okay? So this becomes 36. This is the exact same, 36. So we have 1296 is the same as 36 times 36. So the square root of 1296 is equal to 36. Next, we will find the cube root of a number. To find the cube root of 1728, we want to find the prime factorization. So if we do the prime factorization of 1728, we get 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. What we want to do with the cube root is we want to take the prime factorization and group them into groups of 3. And so now we want to make 3 equal groups of the same factorization. So we have 1, 2 goes into each. So this is done. Our second 2 and a 3. Now we see each of these brackets comes down into a 12. So 1728 is the same as 12 times 12 times 12. So the cube root of this number is equal to 12. Now with that in mind, we want to solve some problems using those ideas. So our first example, what is the surface area of a cube with volume 4913? So we have a cube with the volume 4913. To find the volume, we take the length times the width times the height, and since we know it is a cube, we know that all three sides have to be the same. So we are trying to find a cube root, some number that goes into this number 3 times. To do that, we find our prime factorization, which gives us 17 times 17 times 17. So our cubed root is equal to 17. So now we know a side length is 17. So the surface area of one side of the cube will be 17 times 17, which is equal to 289 centimeters squared. But we are not done yet, because this is the surface area of one side. A cube has 6 sides, so to find the surface area of the entire cube, we have to take this number and multiply it by 6, which gives us 1,734 centimeters squared. So the surface area of this cube is 1,734. Next, we will try to find the volume of a cube, knowing its surface area. So here we have a cube, and we know that its surface area is 294 centimeters squared. And that is the surface area of the entire cube. So to find the surface area of one square, we want to take this number and divide it by 6, which gives us 49 centimeters squared. So what do we do with this number? Now, we break it down into our prime factorization, which gives us 7 times 7. So the square root of 49 is equal to 7. So the side length of this cube is going to be 7 centimeters. Now that we know the side length, we can find the volume by taking the width times the length times the height, which is 7 times 7 times 7, which is equal to 343 centimeters cubed. So the volume of this cube is 343 centimeters cubed. Thank you for watching 3.2 Perfect Squares, Cubes, and Their Roots.